When I was 26 years old, I got married. Family life flowed like a calm stream. We lived in a house given to us by my wife's father. The house was close to my wife's parents' house, so we often visited them. My father-in-law worked as a regional manager in a large company. He often went on business trips or spent time with friends fishing. My mother-in-law didn't work. She was a homemaker. Amelia carefully watched her appearance, a beautiful woman of 45 with a good figure. Sometimes I thought she didn't pass on all her beauty to her daughter. When my mother-in-law was alone, she would sometimes invite me to her house. She made jokes that I thought were somewhat ambiguous, hinting at intimate moments. She often complimented me and showed interest in me as a man. I won't hide the fact that I sometimes imagined scenarios with her, but they were only fantasies. In real life, I would have been terrified. One day, my wife went away for a few weeks, and the abstinence began to take its toll on me. When she came home from a soccer game, she asked me how the game went. I replied, "Great, I managed to score a goal." She replied, "How intriguing that sounds. I'd love to see how you score goals." She then invited me to dinner, jokingly saying that she would replace my wife for me. I replied that it was very convenient for me. She laughed and said she was waiting for me. In the evening, I went to her house. We were alone. My mother-in-law met me in a short white dress. My reaction to her charming figure was very strong. I tried to restrain myself and told myself that it was just my imagination. We sat down at the table, drank some wine, and she moved on to adult topics. She asked me if I liked her dress. I answered in the affirmative. It emphasized her slender legs very well. She asked me to make sure and put my hand on her leg. As a result of all these actions, we quickly moved to the bedroom and had a wonderful night. She kept repeating the phrase, "Score me a goal." In the morning, I was very embarrassed. She seemed to sense this and said she knew of my mixed feelings, and said she was not my wife's biological mother. My wife's mother died when she was 2 years old. Over time, our relationship evolved into secret meetings and fantasies. Our relationship remains a strict secret, and we continue to meet from time to time and fulfill our shared fantasies. After that first passionate night with my mother-in-law Amelia, I was tormented by guilt. I had betrayed my wife and broken the sacred bond of trust. But I was unable to resist Amelia's temptation and the excitement of our forbidden affair every time she called me. We continued to meet secretly at every opportunity. The fiction that Amelia was not my wife's biological mother assuaged my conscience a little about our affair. But as time went on, the secrecy and the lies began to weigh on me. I began to drink more to drown out my conflicting emotions. My wife Anna began to suspect something was amiss. Although I tried my best to behave normally with her, emotionally, I withdrew. 6 months after I first met Amelia, Anna announced that she was pregnant. I was overcome with joy, but also despair. Now I would have an innocent child, forever binding me to the woman I had so treacherously deceived. I vowed to immediately end my relationship with Amelia for the sake of my future child. But just as I was about to break off our relationship, we found ourselves once again in intimacy. "This is really the last time," I said later to a crying Eleanor. Her lips quivered, and she nodded silently. We both realized that continuing our affair would be inexcusably wrong with a baby on the way. In the months that followed, I devoted myself entirely to Anna and to preparing for the arrival of our baby. I avoided Amelia, not trusting myself to be alone with her. Pregnancy and the prospect of fatherhood filled the emptiness inside me that I had previously tried to satisfy with drink and romance. Shortly after the birth of our daughter Sasha, Amelia announced that she was moving to another city to care for a sick relative. While some part of me mourned her loss, I was also relieved that the source of my temptation was removed. When I held tiny Sasha in my arms on my first day at the hospital, all doubts about the rightness of my chosen path vanished. Kissing her fluffy head, I whispered sacred vows to be the father and husband she deserved. In time, Anna never knew about that dark chapter with her mother. Amelia stayed away and seemed to close that door forever for the sake of our family. And I devoted myself completely to the family we had created, first Sasha, then her little brother William, born 2 years later. Being a dad to them healed old wounds and filled the voids I had carried around for too long. Now, many years later, As I watched my grown children play with their own children in the backyard of our family home, I still occasionally think of Amelia. I wish her well wherever she is, but the pull of forbidden passion no longer has power over me. Surrounded by the family I love, I realize where true contentment lies. The mistakes of youth and their heavy costs are fading as brighter horizons open up.